You know that feeling, right? That feeling of being completely, utterly drained. The kind of silent exhaustion that follows you home from work and just sits with you. Well, professional burnout, it's so much more than a buzzword. It's a reality for millions of us. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? Today, we're going to dive into a framework that completely reframes burnout, not as some kind of personal failure, but as a genuine opportunity for a breakthrough.
The source material we're exploring today really zooms in on a specific part of this. It points out that for many professional women, that mix of heavy workloads, emotional responsibilities, and all those unseen pressures, it leads to something it calls high spiritual erosion. Wow, that's a powerful phrase, isn't it? It really captures that quiet struggle that so often goes completely unnoticed.
And this all boils down to a pretty fundamental question that, let's be honest, most of us have asked ourselves, probably in a moment of quiet desperation. Why? Why do we push ourselves to be the perfect employee, the perfect partner, the perfect parent, all at the same time? This question, it gets right to the heart of the problem, this constant, crushing pressure to be everything to everyone.
Okay, but just identifying a problem is only half the battle, right? So let's shift gears and talk about the solution that's presented in the source material. It's a concept that's specifically designed to counteract that spiritual erosion we just talked about, and it's called spiritual longevity.
So what in the world is spiritual longevity? It's not about just feeling good for a little while. It's actually defined as the active practice of working sustainably, without burning out, and staying resilient without just crumbling under all that pressure. The real goal here is long-term spiritual strength. It's like building this deep-rooted endurance for the absolute marathon that is a modern career.
This whole approach is really built on three key ideas. First, it's about reframing burnout as a systemic issue, which helps shift the blame away from the individual. Thank goodness. Second, it's about making all those invisible emotional loads we carry finally visible and manageable. And last, it aims to provide a practical, realistic toolkit for building genuine resilience and setting some firm, healthy boundaries.
Now, for a framework to deliver on aims that are this ambitious, it can't just be some theory, right? It has to be grounded in some serious professional and academic experience.
And the architect behind this whole spiritual longevity concept is Ebru Ertuğrul. She's the expert who developed this really focused approach, and she did it based on years of incredibly diverse experience.
And just take a look at this background. It brilliantly illustrates where she's coming from. I mean, what a combination. You've got a foundation in chemical engineering and an executive MBA from a top university, but then you pair that with a degree in sociology. She's held these high-level marketing and consulting roles at huge international companies, and on top of that has over 1,600 hours of coaching experience. It's this unique blend of corporate strategy and human psychology that gives her whole approach so much credibility.
So here's the thing. This really focused approach to burnout, it's actually just one part of a much larger ecosystem. The idea of spiritual longevity, it doesn't just exist in a vacuum. Nope, it's one piece of a broader mission that's all about professional and personal growth. And that ecosystem is Udemy. They're the organization behind this and so many other development programs. And that little fact puts the solution we just explored into a much, much broader and more powerful context.
And their vision statement? I think it says it all. Their goal is to be a reliable companion for both companies and individuals on their journey to growth. You see how that emphasizes a long-term journey? It's not about one-off training sessions. It's about positioning themselves as true partners in that growth.
So, when we say a universe of learning, what does that actually look like? Well, Udemy has structured its entire world of knowledge into a whole series of distinct, really focused academies.
This gives you such a great sense of their scope. On one hand, you've got the strategic, skill-based world of their Leadership Academy. And then on the other, you've got the deeply personal, absolutely essential work of their Well-being Academy. They're covering the full spectrum of professional needs, from those hard skills to the human skills that really fuel them.
And here are just some of their core pillars. You can see the structure, right? Leadership, sales, personal and professional development, well-being, and even these highly specialized fields like finance and law. Each one of these is like a deep well of knowledge with tons of specific programs all tailored to today's business challenges.
So with all these different academies and programs, what's the glue that holds this entire ecosystem together? What's the philosophical foundation for all of it? Well, it really comes down to their core values.
These are the principles that guide everything they do, being transparent and open, innovative and creative. A real commitment to continuous development for themselves and their clients. a sharp focus on finding real solutions, and, maybe most importantly, a genuine passion for the work they do. This is really the promise they make to anyone who engages with their programs.
So think about where we started. We went from that intense, really personal experience of burnout all the way to this comprehensive ecosystem that's designed for growth. It all began with one problem and then expanded into a whole universe of solutions. Which, it leaves us with one final crucial question to consider for ourselves. What is your next step for growth?